Hey.
Yo,
We're back.
we're back.
We have given thanks.
I feel like
now
every
we're back.
I feel like every time we take like a week off, I feel like we've been gone for like months.
I feel like a newborn podcast infant.
Yeah.
Where I'm having to learn all this shit over again. Although we kind of have been learning it all over again a little bit because we got the new mixer and everything.
I know, but that new mixer is rad. Yeah,
It's got lights, colors.
I feel like I'm growing up.
Right.
Like slowly getting into this.
Pretty much.
When we hit episode like 30,
Right.
we'll have something else new
I like how it got fancier, but it got less complicated. It got smaller,
and smarter.
but it got more expensive.
Well, of course. Well, actually, yes. Well, inflation, because that one in there was like $235.
That's true, right?
So
yeah,
and we were
inflation, core
yeah,
inflation,
and we were still poor then.
Right, exactly.
So.
Gas prices, right, exactly.
Right. Milk,
they need to
eggs.
release the reserves or something, right?
Right. Yeah,
then that would have been cheaper.
That thing's dope.
Right.
Yep. No, so yeah, we took a week off Thanksgiving. We were going to record, and then we each were just like, I don't really want to call you. You don't want to call me. Let's just So we just took the weekend off. Plus, I was on call for work, so it just wasn't a good environment for recording at the time.
Yeah, and we figured, everybody, the holidays, Thanksgiving, that'd have been the perfect time to actually have the podcast. It's like you were traveling on the road or whatever.
Oh, that's true. That would have been cool.
We fucked up, whatever. But no, we're just, busy with family stuff. So normally our recording days is a Thursday or Friday, and that's prime holiday. So we just
That's for all you new people.
Right.
Our actual listeners, you know that.
Honestly, I was thinking about this. It might be kind of cool, like to go to like a live, if we ever have like enough time to do this, but do like a record that day and then release it that day.
Yeah. Well, I plan on if you get to go again.
The only way we could do that is if we're on a consistent. Our recording time is consistent because sometimes it's not.
Yeah, that's true.
Like if we can consistently record on Saturdays, then we can release it that same day. Because sometimes I feel like we say stuff and then things happen.
Oh yeah, we're liars.
You know what I'm saying?
We lie.
Things happen, and then if it doesn't come, the podcast doesn't come out for a few more days, and it's like, well,
No, it's
we
my
recorded
show.
this 3 days.
It's my show. Just deal with it. So, yeah,
A little bit of a delay, but
yeah,
once I can make this my full-time job, then we could do that.
yeah. This is actually if everybody would just donate a lot of money,
Right.
like to pay each of our salaries.
Correct.
We could do this full time.
Exactly, and then we can
You need to tighten your
bring
base.
you more. Oh man, I'm about to
Tighten your base. I do the same thing.
bust my shit up here.
It's all right.
It's all probably from all the moving.
Nice job. Oh yeah, nice job.
Cool. So yeah, big changes on our end. You guys, I don't know. Let us know if it sounds better.
I think it sounds a lot better.
Supposed to be really good.
To me, it sounds a lot clearer.
We're still on the same mics. I think that has probably
Yeah,
the
but
key is I don't know.
I don't notice the ambient sounds like I was before. This seems tighter, if that
Maybe.
makes sense.
I suppose I like it tight.
I think I'm just too enthusiastic. I'm trying to hype man our own stuff. So I'm like,
It's true.
It's incredibly.
It sounds 1% better, and I'm
1%
hyped
better.
as fuck.
Yeah. Buy one now. We are not sponsored by this.
Oh my god, that would be awesome. Maybe we should actually start reaching out to like people that make all of this crap to kind
Yeah,
of
because
you know
all
what
the
I'm saying?
sponsors I have
I
are
can
like,
sponsor them if they like give me a free mic. I would love that shit.
yeah, because all the ones I've been getting lately are just like clothes and parts for
Right,
motorcycles and body wipes.
Right.
It's Shadow Clean Freaks. I do love those guys.
But that has nothing to do with the podcast. It's just
No.
because
Well,
we're writing.
actually, I mean, I told them a part of my letter thing was like, hey, I got a show too, because it's on my sponsorship page. Like I have
That's
a
true.
podcast, so I guess if we're doing a 6-hour show, we could wipe off.
So you're announcing to vendors that you have a podcast in order to get swag. The only place that I've actually posted that I have a podcast or I'm on a podcast is on Tinder, and it has yielded me approximately 0 matches.
Well, so I use it as just like a thing to fall back on because
So I finally took it off.
they like to do I've been seeing lately since. Because before I had sponsorship, it was because I raced. Now I don't race anymore. I just try to, be a nice guy and be everybody's hype man. But now everybody wants to know your social media presence. And so a lot of times they're like, it doesn't go by how many followers. It's like, quality over quantity.
Correct.
So I was like, well, shit, I don't have that many followers. I
Right.
follow a lot of people. And I try to be
Right.
on it. But I was like, well, I also have a podcast too that catches some traffic as
Right.
well. So, yeah, I think that helps some. Is it really? I mean, I don't think it's.
Like, I
I'm
don't-
not getting sent any free. I'm not getting any free stuff. Sometimes
Right.
I get some extra goodies thrown in, but
get
I have
like
to spend
50%
money.
off.
Well, no, I have some that are. I mean, I've got some pretty significant ones. Like I've
Okay.
got some where it's pretty awesome. But I also got some too where they give me another code where I can share with friends if they want to also plug into it as well.
Yeah, but see, you do something cool. I don't do anything cool to get sponsored, except
That's because you're afraid to spend money.
That's true.
So
No, I'm not afraid to spend money. You know this. I'm afraid to spend money on stupid adult things, like a washing machine.
I'm not afraid. I don't want to do it. Yeah, I get it.
You know what I'm saying? I like spending money on stuff that bring me joy, and adult stuff don't bring me joy, like washing machines and I don't know what else.
Any
I did buy an adult thing because it was a necessity, but was a new battery for my truck, and fuck those things got expensive.
everything's expensive.
It's insane, but like crazy expensive.
It is. It sucks.
It really hurt me.
Because when you see it, you're like, it shouldn't. You want to be like, this shouldn't cost this much.
Right. This is a battery. It's like
You're like, I would pay you 40,
right.
not 120.
Right.
We need to work.
120 would have been better.
Yeah, you try to like.
It was like almost $200 for this damn.
Would you get like a marine you got the marine interstate battery?
I went in there. You're right. I looked in there. I told him, I said, "Hey, need a new battery. This thing's crapped out. It's probably factory. It's I have a 2010 truck, so it's 12 years old.
It's a Sunbeam battery.
It's old as balls." And he looked it up. He says, "Oh yeah, it's 6 years old. So they must have swapped it out right before I bought it." But, and I was like, cheapest one. All of them had like a warranty. I was like, I don't need a fucking 8-year warranty on a battery.
But let's get it though. You know what I mean?
And so I was like, cheapest one. It was like $178. I'm like, God damn.
Yeah, but it's not like a AAA. You don't have to
right.
replace it in a couple weeks. It's cool. But yeah, all that stuff sucks, dude.
It is terrible.
Car trouble sucks.
I hate. I used to have to do it out of necessity, but I absolutely hate working on vehicles now.
That's why I just pay way too high of a payment because I don't have to work on anything.
That's true. I've gotten to the point. I think with that truck, I like having no payment. That's awesome. But I'm getting to the point where I'm like, as soon as stuff starts breaking on it, I'm like, I'm out.
Because you'll get like a pop, and for us having the Tundras, it's nice is they don't have a lot of issues really.
Right, that's true.
Now, what happens is you get like an influx of issues, and then they go away.
Right.
So you have to just make it over like the 2-week itch, get over it, and then it's fine.
Right.
But like you said, like if I start to get where it's even when it's little things here and there, I'm like, yep, Daddy's about to go a lot.
Like the battery doesn't bother me. Okay, that happens. Like you get a new battery. The only mechanical thing that went down bad on it that I had to fix, and this was maybe a year ago, was the water pump. I had to replace the water pump. It cost a little bit, but I was like, okay, all right, fine, water pump, I get it, replace it. I feel like it's been quiet since then, so we'll see.
Your thing you run into is like everyone's like, I don't want a payment. Well, okay, I try to justify that an average truck payment is probably $500 to $700. Let's just say, or maybe less depending on what you're driving. But I know in today's current for full drive trucks, whatever, you're between $500 and $700.
The interest rates
between $500 and $700 a month.
Yeah,
Let's just be fair. So if I'm like, okay, well, it's costing me this to repair it in this small amount of time, then as long as I can be under that. But my thing is like, I just want something I know I can take across the country if I had to.
It's the security.
Because I had pieces of shit. You know, when you're a kid, you don't care. Like when you're younger, it's whatever. But
right, out of necessity. Yeah, it's the security of it. But once it gets to a point to where, this is what I'll do is whenever something pops up and it's going to cost me, starts to get into the thousands of dollars range.
Time to trade.
Then I'll just trade it in. Because the thing is, they'll fix it in their own shop at cost and then sell it. And so there's no point in that. So if it ever gets to that, I did the same thing with my last truck. Whenever I did have to spend a bunch of money,
Ranch?
It was a necessity.
I remember that.
Yeah, it was a necessity. I had to spend a bunch of money on it, and then some more stuff popped up. And I was like, "Fuck that! I'm trading it in. I'm out."
Right.
So I'll just do that same thing here. But I don't know if we get on a truck tangent. This is now AutoZone podcast.
Yeah, we really don't actually give a shit about working on vehicles. Right. We got on. That's actually happening. That's what happened this past week.
Right. Exactly. So, yes, things that have been happening.
Yeah, whatever.
Yep. What else has been going on?
I went to a concert.
Tell me about
the
that.
Ryman.
I'm not a big concert.
You're not a big
guy,
concert guy, and I recently just got into concerts. Kylie and I have been kind of on a tear about concerts at the Ryman. We're like big Ryman junkies now.
Right.
Like we'll be in the stands. Which
you sit in a church pew.
Well, we've upgraded now. We actually get the seats where you're in the fold-out rubber chairs at the back because it's a quick escape, and you don't have to sit in those pews. Right. And you don't have to sit.
And you've got a fold-out rubber chair that you can use as a weapon if you need.
And I don't have to also sit next to some lard ass that takes up more of the pew than they're supposed to.
Right. Exactly.
Sorry if you're a lard ass. Anyway, we went to A Day to Remember, which is one of our favorite bands. Kylie's so longer than her.
Isn't that a Day to Remember? Isn't that a sappy love movie?
So
with like Mandy Moore?
No, it's not. That's A Walk to Remember.
Okay, fuck. You would know.
Of course I would. It's sad and sulky and yeah, of course I would. It's a love story where it ends in tragedy.
That's right.
Of course I'm going to watch it. So yeah, that's actually a really sad movie. So they're a like post-hardcore Christian rock band type. I get they call it post-hardcore, like screamo, like emo, like that whole genre of whatever. So we get there and we're all pumped. Like we get to the Ryman, it's cool, and of course the crowd's a lot different than when you go to a country. Because we'll usually go to country concerts there, so the crowd is like our age, but like a lot of fishnets, a lot of goth paint, a lot of tank tops that people shouldn't be wearing and shit.
Like cartoon tattoos.
It's really wild. Yeah, like some anime shit. It's really wild. But hey, everybody's vibing and they all got good taste in music because we're there. Okay, cool. We all got that in common. So
right.
It's fine. A lot of alcohol on a Tuesday night. So they come out.
So this is what do you say? It's like emo screamcore. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
That's
but they
genre.
they do good vocals with screaming. It's not like that. Fuck your parents. It's not. It's
Fuck your parents.
yeah. You know what I mean.
Not sexually.
Yeah, not sexually. Because I've been told before that's what you do. You sing about how much you hate your parents. That's just part of it. So that was a really bad example. So they come out. That's what we're wanting. Like we want the. I guess there's something called the breakdown where it's all acoustics and everybody starts getting hyped and all this. Well, they set up chairs.
Right.
So I'm like, it's kind of odd that
it's really hard to mosh.
You can't really. Well, I'm not so much moshing, but it's really hard to get in it. Like I would imagine, I'm not a singer, but get in it. I mean, I don't want to sing in the shower. It's full body, but
it's hard to like dance and like rage.
Well, then they come out. Everybody's excited to see them, and And let me start by saying they sounded incredible. I posted on my story and some stuff.
That's not what you told me.
Yeah. Well, no, they did for what it was, and they do have some acoustic, slower songs. But they come out with their first song, and we're like, "Fuck, we're about to stand up, fucking hands forward." Everybody's in it, like, "Yeah."
He comes out,
"You ready to fucking rage? Yeah, welcome to hell." I'm like, "Oh, this is gonna be great." So we're like, "Get ready!" All of a sudden, he was like, "This is a cover of one of our songs. Hope you like it." It's Downfall of Us. I'm like, "Oh fuck, this is gonna be great." And then as he comes out, it's like, da 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 da, and we're like, "Oh, this is it. Here it comes." And it's supposed to be, "Let's rock," and all of a sudden it was like, "Let's rock." I'm like, so it stopped, and I was like, "Oh," Dekai was like, "Okay, maybe it's just the first song. Like, it's cool. They're the rhyme.
Your body is a wonderland."
Yeah, and I was like, he's in a coat, so I know he's not going to go ham if he's in a coat, because I'd be sweating my ass off singing. So I'm like, okay, cool. Let's just wait it out.
That was just a teaser.
So we get to like song like 3 or 4, and I looked at Kyle and I was like, I don't think they're going to get hype. I don't think it's going to be that. She was like, I think we'll just see. All of a sudden, like, there's people in the crowd, like, they're in between these guys. Somebody was like, "Yeah, let's fucking go, Rager!" And it's like people screaming and shit. And then one guy come in who was like, "Let's do another one." This one, the front row started screaming. They're like, "Dude," he was like, "This is an acoustic set. Relax." And I looked at Kyle and was like, "Good fucking job."
Right.
And of course, she at this point was pissed. She looked over.
Did it say it on the tickets?
No.
Okay.
I don't think she's gonna get pissed when she hears. I don't care. I don't think she like. Because I don't think she saw the band. I was like, okay, cool, and I love the band.
It's like band rhyming this date, boom, we're going.
Yeah, because we've seen we saw Chris Jansen. And he got hyped as fuck out there on the rhyme. It's not because it's the rhyming. Like that's not why they didn't get hyped. Like he got out there screaming. And shit.
Yeah, but
it's because this is an acoustic tour.
Right.
They're on.
Oh, okay.
I saw the show they did in Vegas on YouTube, and I said, I want them to do that.
Right.
Like, scream and let's
not
bring
this
it
year
down.
though.
Not this year though. So. It gets like song number whatever, and Kylie was like, "I'm fucking bored." I looked at her and I was like, "This is your fault. You bought these tickets. Like, happy anniversary. You paid for these. Like, you have ruined this show for me." Now, one of their songs did start to pick up. And they did for what it was fantastic. They sound amazing. They started out in 2003 like an underground band, and I mean they're amazing. First time at the Ryman, first time me seeing them live. Mm-hmm. Like I haven't seen a rock concert. Besides, like on YouTube, like in person since 2007 when I saw Red Suit Apparatus and Hailstorm at Battle of the Bands,
right?
At Journeys in the Cool Springs parking lot,
right.
Watching dirt bikes flip and this. But that's the big show we went to this week. Okay. So I would see it again, but I was ready for them to like. I wanted screaming and like fucking hard bass. I was ready to see my first like. But what was cool, and I think I understand why, because I asked Kylie, I was like, cause she's been to those like Rocket Town and shit, like the whole. Mike's swinging and spitting and shit and throwing on the ground and throwing chairs and mosh pitting, whatever they call it.
Sounds lovely.
Yeah, it's cool. So I told her I was the crowd on one side. It was like I recorded. It was like dads and like kids our age, and they were like all up together, like singing at each other, and like the crowd started moving. I was like, I love this fucking energy. I love this vibe. Like it's. I told her, I said, I could imagine if they went hard. How that unreal vibe and like standing ovation. Like I mean, it's cool. Like I get it. Like I can see why musicians get hyped. The good ones get hyped at what they're doing. Because I'm like, dude, you've got a whole like 1,200 people right now jumping because of you.
Yeah, that's true.
It's cool. Yeah, that was probably the coolest thing I did this week.
Well, I like it. My last concert experience was like the opposite of yours. Is I went into it again. I don't really follow.
You don't really
bands.
listen to music.
I listen.
But you don't.
I'm air quoting. I listen to music.
Yeah, like if in passing.
But I don't. I've explained it to this to people. I listen to music. I like music. I don't follow it.
Okay, all right. You're not a groupie.
That's the best way I can explain it. I don't follow music, right? I like music. I listen to it. Music to me is an enhancer to an experience. It's not the experience.
I don't think I've ever.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever come into your home or anywhere and like you had music on.
Right.
It's on at my house 24/7, and I know why.
Right. Because like I'm washing dishes, I don't need an enhancer to that
But I do.
experience because it sucks.
But I know why I do.
You know what I'm saying? But if I'm watching a cool movie and it's just dead silent, it's not. Music, the score enhances the experience of the visuals that I'm enjoying. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get it.
The story that I'm taking. So that's how I like music. But or even say driving the car. Most of the time I'm listening to a podcast because that's just how I am. But sometimes I get the end of a podcast and still got like another 20 minutes of driving or whatever. I'm just like, fuck, I don't want to start up something else. So I'll just see what's listening on the radio or shuffle on Spotify or whatever the fuck. And so that's kind of nice because that's enhancing my driving experience necessarily, right?
I've never looked at it that way before.
But that's how I view it. But I'm not like I don't follow bands.
I'm the total opposite.
Right. Now I follow hotties.
I haven't got
my thing about Dua Lipa.
Well, of course.
I'm obsessed with
naturally.
her. But anyway,
you have good taste.
I'm obsessed with her. But anyway, I think we could talk. We were going to talk about this later, but like Wednesday is out right now on Netflix.
Oh yeah,
and she has that very.
I know. Don't say that.
And so Dua Lipa has that like look. You know what I'm saying?
Dua Lipa's a lot hotter.
Right, a lot hotter. She has that. I'm going to
She has to me an exotic, seductive look.
Exotic, seductive
but she's not
look.
trying.
No,
it's subtle.
Right, exactly. Like She's probably a sweet person.
There's a mystery to it,
right? But it felt like if I went to like go hit on her, it'd either work or she's gonna like kill me.
I feel like she would.
That's that vibe I get.
I feel like she would let you down the best way.
Probably.
I feel like she'd be super cool about it.
But you don't know, like her look about her. She looks like she could be hardcore about it, and makes it a little more attractive. Exactly. the nerves that you would have.
Yeah, you're like, talk shit to me.
Right, exactly. like I want this to work and you to respond to it, but also if you like put me down, I'll be like, oh yes, please, mistress, give me another, that kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
I understand.
I think I just admitted that I like to be dominated. But anyway,
I was better by Dua Lipa than other guys.
If it was Dua Lipa, right? If it was Dua Lipa, I 100% would allow it. But fuck, I forgot where I was going. Oh yeah, so the only concert that I had, last concert I had been to was this time last year. It was Christmas time, so the family wanted to take everybody to Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
Yeah,
which was dope.
Well, because you had to ask me who that was.
I didn't know who the fuck it was.
I was like,
so, and you described it to me, right? And you were like, that's how you were describing it. Yeah. So I get in there and immediately start, and I was like, okay, we'll see how this goes. Because you did tell me it was like Christmas.
Yeah. That's
songs that they do, and I'm like, you know how my feeling. I was like,
I understand.
Everybody's already started to celebrate Christmas. Yeah, I know. So I'm like, oh my God, I'm not into this Christmas bullshit. It's just too much. And I'm sitting in the audience, and they come out and they start doing their thing. They explain who they are and all this kind of stuff. And then it's just like for the first 40 minutes, it's the Nutcracker, and I'm just like, I want to die. I want to get the fuck out of here. It's all like snowflakes and ribbons and whatever. I'm just like, Jesus Christ, I'm so tired of it. And just about that mark, then all of a sudden, dude comes out with like a steel violin, and then flames start shooting the floor. In front of me, there's like a box that comes up out of the floor and spins with flames, and I'm just like, welcome to hell.
It's got like a dead kid in it. You're like, oh my God.
Exactly
right.
Yeah.
They go hard.
A goat comes out on stage and they sacrifice it, that kind of shit.
Well, when you said that, I was like, you were like, and I was like, dude, you don't. I don't think you understand. Just wait.
And then that finally happened. Then I was engaged. Yeah. I was like, okay, I'm all about this now. I think I freaked out a lot of people in the front row in front of me because I was like, welcome to hell.
As soon as you said it was like fire, I literally thought I would have been there and been laughing my ass off because both of us would have synced.
Hell yeah, dude.
Everybody's like, but what's cool about them, I think, I knew you were going to dig it too because it's very cinematic. It's almost like watching a movie because the way they project it's cool. I've heard it's an awesome show.
You know what I felt like. You've seen the GIF or the meme where it's Elmo and he's like raising his hands in the
Yeah.
air, and there's flames behind him.
Yeah,
That's what I felt like.
like Elmo in Hell.
like Elmo and L. That's what I felt like.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's a good show. I've heard that's a good one.
Right. So I can appreciate music, and I can have fun at a concert. It's just I don't follow it, so it's not something I seek out.
I don't know if so. I have music
is what it
on
is.
all the time just because I don't like to be in my own thoughts. Kylie actually sent me a video a couple weeks ago that showed like
Maybe that's my problem. I like being in my own thoughts.
See, my problem is I have to have something on because if I get by myself in my own thoughts, it's not good. So like I think I'm just a freak, man. Like let's just.
That's just you are you. I'm a freak. Too.
Yeah, I've been told I need therapy, but I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to keep podcasting with you.
I was going to say, if we were normies, we wouldn't.
Yeah, this is my.
We'd be going to therapy.
I'm going to pretend you did not use the normies.
Normies?
You're fucking in the Wednesday. That's what as soon as I heard normies, I was like, he's hooked, man. I got him.
It's a cool show.
It's a great show.
They are getting, there's some woke lines.
Yeah, but they
going in
pull out.
there.
It's not thick.
They don't
pull
stay
out.
in it.
They pull out.
They don't stay in it. That's true.
Yeah.
They don't harp on it. Let's put it that way. But they're throwing them out there. They're already doing the whole stolen land colonization.
Yeah, you gotta.
That's annoying.
It's
A couple times they did.
stay in-
They said the word mansplaining once, and I was like,
you just gotta just navigate. It's navigating deadly waters. You just gotta know where to not crash.
yeah, well,
Just stick it out.
well, I'm going to watch it. It's the thing is like all the other stuff is entertaining enough to where it overshadows that. But sometimes, whenever that woke crap overtakes the story, and then
Correct.
that's where I pull the ripcord and I want to get the fuck out.
Exactly.
So
Start
I did
treading
that.
water.
I did that. The She-Hulk. She-Hulk was fucking awful. I couldn't get past. Like I love Marvel and I love the whole universe and all of that, and I wanted to stay in it, but I couldn't because all the woke bullshit pulled me out, and the writing was fucking terrible on that, and the characters were ass. So
Right.
so I can tolerate some wokeness. And it just comes with the territory. Which speaking of which, talking about that, have you heard the news about what's going on with Disney right now?
So I saw. We mentioned before we started the show. I saw a thing on Instagram that said like his name. He was coming
Bob
back.
Iger.
But I was like, I didn't delve into the story, so I don't know a lot about it. So I'll let you fill me in because
So basically, Bob Iger used to be the CEO of Disney.
Okay.
Way back when, not way back when. It was a few years. It's like 3 years ago, something like that. And maybe it wasn't even that long ago.
or you.
But anyway, so
we need to.
he stepped down. They brought in another dude. I think his name was Chapek or something. I can't remember the first name. And he sucked. Right? I'm pretty sure he was the person that was the CEO. He was the head of Disney whenever Lightyear came out. And then this latest animation feature, Strange World. Okay?
Okay. Oh,
And-
yeah, that's it.
Right.
Okay, gotcha.
Right. And so this Chapek cat, he apparently took Disney in the whole woke direction to where he was combative with half of the audience, essentially. Right?
Okay.
Is that he was placating to his employees, his LGBTQ plus whatever the fuck alphabet soup
soup.
of employees, right? And letting them basically run the show and set the terms. And so they started coming out with more woke stuff. And it wasn't like subtle, like they were just trying to inject in their own point of view. It's like they would do interviews and press tours highlighting the
Yeah.
wokeness that they were injecting and celebrating it and proud of the fact that they were injecting their political point of view into this stuff or whatever.
Do you think it feels like being on a ship that's sinking, and you're like, what
Yeah.
can we do to keep it floating? And they're like, just do whatever we can. Like
Yeah.
it's
They went too hard in the paint. They went
Yeah,
too far.
it's-
They went too far. They alienated half of their audience. All of the entire stock market's taking a dump. The tech sector's taking a dump. But Disney specifically is like worth half as much as it was this time last
Catering
year.
to
So
a
it's even dumping even lower than everybody else. Like everyone's taking a bath right now, but they're going even lower. And the problem is because they've alienated half their audience. Is that it's not? We're not even talking about like conservative people. Just average people just want to sit their kid in front of a screen and have them be babysat by Disney Plus for an hour or two, right? Because that's what it is. That's what Disney Plus is. Disney Plus is a
it's
digital
nostalgic
babysitter.
for us, and it's great for them.
But I'm saying
It is.
parents put it on for kids so that they can sit there for an hour and just, not run around so they can like do laundry real quick or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
You have a kid, so
I
you
don't-
get
I
it.
don't- Yes.
But you
I
get what
the
I'm
idea.
saying.
Yeah, I get it.
The advantage of having stuff like that, like a streaming platform, for geared toward children is that you can entertain them for a short period of time.
It's
where you can
it's something they can watch.
have
That
to
you
kind
can
of-
semi know what's on there, and it's
exactly
easier to regulate.
And the problem is that you want to be able to just do that, turn it on, and know that it's good, safe, quality,
Yes.
uncontroversial content. You don't have to worry that you're going to have to explain something later, right?
Right.
Even if the thing is even if you agree with what they're saying, it may not be the time that you have designated for your kid. You may be like, I don't have to address this for a few more years.
Correct.
But now Disney Plus will inject it into their programming, and now, even if it's something you agree with, you're now in a position where you have to talk about it earlier than you wanted to.
That's correct.
And maybe you wanted to introduce it a certain way, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And I'm talking about anything. Say if you're a parent and you agree with LGBT.
This happened to me.
Whatever.
This happened to me this week.
Right, exactly.
I experienced this firsthand.
Right, and say if you agree and you personally have no problem with it, but you just didn't want to have that conversation with your kid at that particular time, that's not just Disney's job. They need to be completely uncontroversial, in my opinion. And the problem is I think the people have spoken, and they got tired of this, and their shares have dropped, and they finally were like, this is, now the shareholders are now like, okay, well, something has gone wrong here.
You're catering to the loudest yet smallest populace. So everybody forgets that the majority of people that put money into these companies and then consumers are average people like you and I and the average family. Even if you're not conservative, like you said, you could be far left, whatever, even still, or lean that way.
It's not Disney's job to teach your
So
kid that stuff.
everybody's like, well, we're going to stick to it. I'm like, okay, well, you affect less than 1% of the population, your little group. So that's not going to keep you afloat. You can't. You just
Exactly.
And it doesn't make sense. Like, that was my big thing, is I don't mind seeing certain things if it makes sense to the story and the writing.
Right.
But when it doesn't make sense to have it, but you're just doing it to be like, hi, look at this. We're a part of the
We're
program.
checking off
I'm
a box.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, well, you're just diminishing your value here. 100%.
Right. You're diminishing
You're
the art.
taking away from the show.
Right.
It's for pure entertainment. It's a fake world. I want it to be entertaining.
You're like,
But like, go back to what you're. I'm sorry. With Bob Iger.
And so, I mean, basically, what's happened is that your woke bullshit walks and money talks. Okay,
I like that.
Is basically what happened.
Write that down, audience.
Is that they were like, listen, our shares are down twice, half from last year. I guarantee you, they're not just saying it's just because the overall economy is bad. It's also they're basically admitting that it's because of this woke programming that they have gone too far. They've alienated an audience, right? And they're no longer listening to the audience. They've been listening to their employees, right? So they dumped this Chapek cat, right? He's gone. They brought back in Bob Iger. Now, the thing about Bob Iger is he's still a Hollywood liberal, okay? Bob Iger is still very much to the left. He still believes in all of the leftist tenets and social values and all of that stuff. But he at least understands the business that he's in, and he understands that. And he had a town hall meeting with the employees. Apparently, it got leaked out, or I don't know if it was on purpose or what. I don't know. But where he was basically walking back a lot of the stuff that Disney has been doing for the past couple of years, because he understands that even though he agrees, you see what I'm saying? Yeah. Even though he agrees with a lot of what his employees are saying, he has to understand. He understands at least that. You can't go too much too fast, okay? You can still hold these beliefs and not alienate half the country.
Yeah, so
okay, and the thing is putting more of that stuff into your programming is not going to convince anybody.
Not at all.
It's not going to do that.
No.
So why alienate this? So now money talks, bullshit walks, your woke bullshit walks, and that's what we're seeing now. So Bob Iger's back in the driver's seat, and it seems like we're probably still going to get some wokeified version of stuff still.
Yeah, you're not gonna.
But I think it's going to be a lot more subtle and less of it, and it will be only if it makes sense to the story to what you were saying.
Yeah.
They're not just going to just dump it in there just because, and I guarantee you they're not going to have any more press conferences where they have the actors and the voice actors out there talking about how this is the first, black, gay, trans. They're gonna stop doing that.
Yeah.
They're just gonna release the movie, talk about its messages and themes, but not try to highlight all the woke stuff in it, even if it has it in it.
Yeah, because he brings up here. So I got an article pulled up, and I didn't mean to sound like I was cutting you off earlier.
No, go ahead. Because I was going to pull that up, but I couldn't find a good audio for it.
It says here. I'm just going to read some highlights here. He left the company last year, according to this article, whatever, and then said
Yeah, it was only a year.
he said Disney's streaming success was being measured by many different metrics, but the main factor was growth. He said that has since shifted to focus on the bottom line and how much we are losing, and we will be profitable. He said instead of chasing subs with aggressive marketing, aggressive spend on content, the company needs to start chasing profitability. In order to do that, it says they need to take a very, very hard look at the cost structure across the board.
Yeah.
But his thing here, his number one focus should be creativity. He said, "No more of you don't who have worked with me are obsessed with that." He said, "But I'm obsessed with it for that reason that it drives the company is creativity." So he said here that he doesn't want to waste time putting on the mark on the company. As soon after he knows, let's see how we're going to organize. Say that it's not about how much Disney creates, but rather how great the things are that we do create.
Yeah, I mean
So
that's
it's quality over quantity.
Yeah, but
That's
that
what it sounds like to me.
I think the that is like the press release type thing that he
that's what I got
interview.
pulled up.
The thing that was the important. I wish I could pull up the audio. Was that he was basically saying someone asked him, it's like, how do you feel about the the political aspect of some of this politics getting injected into Disney or whatever? And his response was, he's well, I don't think it's necessarily political, some of that stuff, but he's like, am I upset that we have been embroiled in controversy? He's like, of course, we don't need to be in controversy.
That's what they mentioned
So he's
as
like
well.
walking it back, saying that, look, he's kind of speaking out of both sides of his mouth. He's like, all this woke stuff, I don't think it's woke stuff. Like, I don't think it's political, even though obviously it is, because it's controversial.
Of course it is.
But he's like, but I understand that it's controversial, and we don't want to be controversial because it affects the bottom line, right?
To me-
and he goes on to say where he's like, we need to. It's not always about pushing your message. Sometimes it's about listening to your audience, and that was kind of the key thing. Where you gotta read between the lines with these like CEOs and stuff, because I think what
He's a businessman.
Bob Iger's not stupid, and what he's trying to do is he's trying to appease his employees because he doesn't want to have this like mutiny, or essentially,
Don't
right?
have a Twitter thing.
Exactly. He doesn't want to alienate his employees, who he actually agrees with. But then he also has to please his shareholders, and his shareholders are now understanding that the reason why they're upset is because Disney has alienated the audience. And so you've gone too far one way where you're trying to appease your employees, and you've lost focus on who you're catering to, who you're selling your content to,
Right.
is parents. And parents are not all about this stuff, okay? Even the, quote, liberal parents are going to cringe a little bit whenever you start getting into especially the trans stuff and the drag queen story hour and all that. Even liberal parents are like, hold on a second.
Well,
let me do this.
I feel like, and you agree or disagree, I feel like here lately, it's almost, I feel like it's done on purpose. Like,
It is done on purpose.
it's done in a way that it's not tasteful and it's not part of the story. So it feels like it's almost like a, haha, like I just put this here just because I can.
Well, I'll just outright say it, is that these people, this small minority of woke thinking people, this is what they believe. This is what they believe. They believe that they no longer have to convince the adults that their position is correct. Mm-hmm. They've moved on to, well, if we can just convince the kids, then the next generation will be like us.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
That's what they're doing. Which is called propaganda. You're trying to influence the next generation, right, with your particular point of view, and that's not how that should work. Is that kids should be exposed to all different types of points of view with the guidance of the parents. The parents decide what values they want to move along. And then you multiply that times millions of families across the nation, and then the society will look how it's going to look. But it is not the employees of Disney's job to affect that particular kid's raising. I mean, it's just straight up.
Now,
But that's what they think that is their job.
I feel like when we were kids, Disney was like a staple as far as your parents could put on Disney and just leave you to watch it. Now I have to like watch everything first.
Disney's lost your trust.
It's lost my trust a little bit because, and I know there's a because for example, we were watching Willow, Harper Hour.
Yeah, tell me about that one.
Hey, and I know that I don't give a fuck what you think of how I do my kids and stuff. You do your kids want to. Like my daughter knows what's real and what's fake and all that stuff. I don't have to, and I know that's probably I don't know what the rating is on Willow, but there's Swordful, whatever. So we're watching it. The first episode, there's nothing that she hasn't seen before. There's not a lot of heavy cussing. There's no sex scenes. It's just there's some sword play and whatever. So we're just watching it. It's whimsical a little rough around the edges, but we're watching it. She's into it.
Nothing like, it's like watching The Hobbit.
Yeah, and there's two. Yeah, and she's never even seen that. There's two female leads in the show that it's good so far. But there's a particular scene, and I knew it was coming. I should have known to I know that eventually she's going to see it, but like you said it best, now I have to,
You should be the one to control when that happens.
And it's fine. And I know that I'll catch flack that, well, she shouldn't be watching that. Okay, fuck you, whatever. It's fine.
Right.
So there was two girls kissed, and it wasn't like a hardcore. It was a love kiss, let's just call it that. And I knew it was coming. Normally, if it's me watching, I'm like, okay, whatever. Because we're so just adjusted to it. It's just like, okay.
Yeah.
So, of course, when Harper sees it, she's like, why are they kissing like that? I said, I was just like, they're just good friends. Friends love each other. I said, she got caught up in the moment. It's just a goodbye kiss.
Friends.
And it kind of was. It was just kind of a goodbye kiss. Whatever, like, hey. But there's clearly something there, obviously. And then here comes the kicker. So I'm like, yeah, they're just best. She was like, that's weird. And kids are like, okay. And then they don't think much about it.
No filter.
And then she was like, well, what if two boys kissed? And then, of course, I was like, well, that's gross, and that'd be really weird. And I don't know, like friends kiss. That's all I said. And I was like, because we haven't introduced any crap yet. So
yeah.
It's like and then, but it's even in, younger content. It's in like, I think they did a whole thing like not Blue's Clues. One of those children, it was like that. Somebody brought in two moms, and they'll see it. Out.
I've heard the argument that's like, well, when they get to high school, they're gonna hear about it.
When they get to high school,
and here my thing. That's exactly my thing. It's like, listen, when they go to school, I can't. Most parents are not going to homeschool their kids. It's just not a reality.
I'm not.
They're not going to.
And I'm not doing the thing where somebody gets mad. And they're like, I'm pulling my kids out of public school. No. I can't afford to do that, guys.
So
I can't.
They're going to go to public school because they have to. They have to go to school of some kind, right? And so you're going to send them to public school, and you can't control that. And they're going to be around people that have different views, and then you have to address it then. But I can turn off Disney Plus. It doesn't have to be on.
And really, we don't watch a lot of Disney Plus, to be honest.
It doesn't have to be on. Okay, I can control that. So if Disney, I think, is finally caught wise, where they're like, okay, listen, we need to be there in our society. We're fighting so much politically, and we've all moved into our camps.
Yeah,
there needs to be something that is just uncontroversial.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just straight down the fucking middle.
It used to be
sports, and we can't even enjoy that without fucking political bullshit all over the goddamn field and their helmets and everything else.
We've talked about it too, where everything now is everybody's a political expert. We almost do politics before we even ask somebody what kind of person you are. It's just you go straight to either you're Republican or Democrat, you're leftist, you're conservative. It goes straight to that. Like you can't even it goes straight to that.
Right.
And it's so saturated in everything.
As someone who
there's no common ground.
As someone like myself who enjoys the battle of politics, and I get into it, right? I get in the weeds, and I enjoy it. It's entertaining to me. Honestly, I think we need to make politics boring again. It needs to be boring again. It needs to be something that people don't really think about until the elections come around, and they're like, "Oh yeah, okay, I like that guy. I don't like that guy," and then you vote, and it's over. We don't need to be talking about it.
We really
constantly.
Don't. We really don't. And now. And I hope this, Bob gentleman here, I hope, Disney, to me, needs to go back to the way it was when we were kids. Like, Disney was fantasy and whimsical, and it was a cool place that a parent and a child could come together and watch some common ground stuff where you could kind of share that experience together. That's when we grew up watching Disney on VHS. Like, it was a thing.
Right.
And good news is, a lot of those movies are still on there that Harper's seen the same movies I did growing up. So, that all good. To me, Disney, in my opinion, Disney started kind of taking a turn when they started pulling movies off their platform because of so-called issues or a scene. I'm like,
right.
Okay.
They took off didn't they take off like Pocahontas?
Dumbo, Pocahontas. Yeah. They pulled off Peter Pan, caught flack. I'm just like
goofy shit.
And I'm like, guys, these were made so long ago, and you're taking it so far out of context that kids do not notice that. And I'll tell you why they don't notice it either, and you'll know this. And I watched it too. You can watch kids interact at daycare or gymnastics, wherever you see them. Like, you pull those off the shelf because my 5-year-old is there's racial tension in that. They don't know any of that. They don't know any of that. You know what they know? She has different color skin than me, but guess what? They're best friends. Who gives a shit?
Right.
Kids, we care more as parents, and adults care so much more than a child does.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Well, they say that racism is learned, which is accurate. Racism is learned.
Sure.
But they're not fucking learning it from Bambi, okay?
No, they're not learning it from each other.
You know what I'm
Maybe
saying?
when kids get older, of course, you pick up on things. But
Get older,
watching my child interact with all kinds of other kids, I've watched them at gymnastics, other kids, they don't see. We shove all that in there. It pisses me off.
I know.
I just think it's dumb.
I know. It's ridiculous. And that one, the other thing that they're doing it to overcompensate for that is the whole gender and race swapping characters when they're doing these live action movies. I'm just like, why? Why are you doing that? Just make
it's for attention. That's all it is.
I feel like it's for attention, but I feel like people are finally getting tired of it.
We are.
It's
We're
just like
sick of
annoying.
it.
We're just like,
All that is for is entertainment purely.
right.
The same. You just brought it up 2 minutes about sports. Like
We're there to escape
we're just
from
there
it.
to escape from our day to day, and it doesn't mean that our day to day is bad, but it's pure entertainment. That's why these people make so much money. It's just entertainment. Entertain me.
I think stories. I think Disney specifically needs to be, like I said, that it needs to be a safe space for people of all different types to be able to just enjoy uncontroversial content, to be able to stick their kid in front of it and know that they're not going to have to answer weird questions later.
I agree.
Right? That's what Disney needs to be. And as far as storytelling, you can tell a story that touches on uniquely human themes and things without it being political, right?
No.
I try to give an example, but I've heard this as far as why would you be concerned about a girl kiss whenever you're not concerned about a guy-girl kiss, right? And my generally my answer to that is, because, and I might get some flack for this, but it's because the girl kiss or the guy kiss, the homosexual kiss, as opposed to a heterosexual kiss. Well, first of all, heterosexual kiss is, I don't want to use this word, but I can't think of a better one. It's natural. It's how that fucking kid.
It's normal. I'm sorry.
Right. But I'm not saying that gay people are like are unnatural. But what I'm saying is that kid wouldn't even exist if it wasn't for that heterosexual interaction. You know what I'm saying? Is that
in my world?
Right.
It's normal.
It is the default. It's the default.
Everyone
That's
says
a better
that
word.
they have their own. Your normal is different than my normal. To me,
correct.
My normal, I don't have is.
But what I'm saying is that's the default. That is how human beings have been able to pair bond and continue on as a species, is because of that interaction.
Correct.
Right? So that is just from looking at, because that is a very default, natural human interaction.
Yeah.
That it's because the kid sees it in the home already. It's seen it since birth.
Or they see
the
it.
Mom and the dad kiss.
They see it on commercials.
It happens.
See it in public.
But I'm not even talking about. I'm
okay,
talking about having those interactions in entertainment.
Oh, correct. I'm sorry.
The reason why that's uncontroversial, right, and that's fine for kids to see, is because they see it between their parents already anyway.
Right.
Because that's how they got there, right? You know what I'm saying? But they wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the interaction between male and female.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But so whenever your kid sees the something that is, you see like two mommies kiss, right, and you're like, hold on a second, the kid immediately, just like Harper just had that interaction. She's like, what?
That's weird. It's
weird. What's going on there?
It's
right?
odd. But the same thing you saw a peacock in your front yard.
It's
just weird.
Obviously, the male-female pair bonding and seeing them affectionate is the default. Obviously, kids know this. That's the reason why they don't question it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And I know that
whenever I say that, whenever the criticism is like, well, why is that such a big deal? Gay people exist. They should be, in entertainment for kids so that the kids understand what that is or whatever. I was like, time and a place, because the default still is heterosexual male-female pair bonding. That's otherwise that kid wouldn't exist. So that's the default, right? They've seen it since birth. They grew up with it, right? There's no question. They don't question why a guy and a girl are kissing on screen. Because they see it. They see their mom and daddy and do it.
Correct.
Right? They don't question it. So That's the reason why. Is that they will eventually learn that isn't always the case. Sometimes 2 guys and 2 girls.
And that's fine.
There's a time and a place, and we can get to that. We do not need to unnecessarily force that onto them at 4 years old or 5 years old, or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And if you want to teach your kid that earlier,
hey,
by all means,
I'll tell you what,
go for it.
I will never tell you how to raise your kid because
Exactly.
you know why? You pay for your kid. You brought them in the world. That is your responsibility.
Right.
So don't tell me.
Don't force me in weird situations.
I'm not going to tell anybody. I'm just not, because that's the problem I'm to now. Is like you were saying that they try to get into that role. I'm like,
Right.
it's not your role. It's
Right,
not.
that's it.
Stay in your lane. It's
yes.
not your role. Your job has nothing to do with that.
Right.
Stay in your do less, God bless.
Yes, your job is to entertain, not influence.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay, straight up. So that
there's good influence too. Like I'm not like you
well,
said, but
undue influence.
undue. Thank you. That actually sounds better.
Influence that I didn't approve
So
of.
I hope that Disney turns it around.
I think
they
they
do
will.
have some great stuff, and that dude seems like he's going in the right place. So yeah, I mean,
I think they will. I think that it's
and I'm still a subscriber to Disney Plus,
Yeah.
and I will be. There's
Me too.
There is good and bad. There's good stuff on there too that we.
Me too.
But the whole tank, what really sparked it was the Lightyear movie. That caught a lot of flack.
Strange World, I think, is what really got it because
Yeah,
Lightyear bombed. I think
It's more for the-
primarily is because they didn't get Tim Allen. To
That was
voice
the
Buzz
biggest.
Lightyear.
That was,
Straight
I
up.
think, the biggest issue.
Because-
and even
yes.
they never approached him.
Right, because a kid would see a trailer, for Lightyear, and it doesn't sound like Buzz Lightyear. So it's like, what is this?
And yeah, okay. So the other argument would be like, well, it's an alternate or a young. No.
No,
There's one
for kids.
Buzz Lightyear. Though we all grew up with Tim Allen being Buzz Lightyear. Like everyone knows that voice.
Right.
Everyone knows that voice. Kids now are going back. Like my daughter's seen all the Toy Story movies. She knows the voice.
Right.
If I put those two
Correct.
if she was blindfolded and listened to both of them, I said which one's Buzz Lightyear. She would tell me which one it is.
It's like it's like if they made a live action Woody and the dude comes out and he's like, "Oh, there's a snake under my boot." You're like, don't make any fucking why is he Russian? It doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying?
Of course, it doesn't make any sense.
Sound like
so
Tom
that was the
Hanks.
big flack, and then there was another issue where they had, and that wasn't even so much the issue as that particular character change with the voiceover actor.
I think that was the primary reason.
That was
why
the
it
primary.
bombed.
The secondary they had-
is
they had
because
two-
it got woke. Right,
Got on the
It was
wings a
woke.
little bit.
But then they went full bore with Strange World.
I have only seen trailers for Strange World.
Strange World, the reason why it bombed, obviously, is not necessarily because they put woke stuff in it. Because I guarantee you, if they didn't go out onto the press tour and talk about how it has all this woke stuff in it,
they haven't
because
caught any
they
of this.
talked about how the dog was disabled. They talked about has themes of climate change. They talk about has a teenage gay love romance, the first openly gay lead character in Disney, and it has a teen romance in it that's gay, and all this kind of stuff. And it said something like it's other things is that they celebrated was that it's like almost no white people apparently.
Yeah, it's multi-race.
Multi-race,
but
but one of the things that someone said on it was that they were proud that it had, not that it was multiracial, is that it had almost no white people. That was, there's a difference there.
sure, you gotta get that plug.
Right.
in there.
It's not that it was multiracial, it's that it was like we have no whites, right? That was what they were really.
Kill Whitey.
Whitey. Right. So they killed Whitey.
Yeah, they got him out of there.
I think Jake Gyllenhaal's character is like probably the only white dude in the whole fucking thing.
He
but anyway,
pretended not to be.
right, exactly. Come out sounding Creole, and you're like, what?
Hey, look, yeah, I saw the trailer and I was just like, that's not going to do well.
It's not gonna do
I knew
well.
immediately. I was like,
Right.
even if your CG looks good, it's a cool concept.
Right.
It's not.
Yeah, see that was a an original property. There was no characters that
No.
kids had.
All
It's not like
original.
Lightly, it was all original stuff, and so kids should have gone into it thinking like. But the thing is the kids are not necessarily making these decisions on what they go see. It's the parents that are allowing them to go. Like kids are not. 6-year-olds are not getting in the car and driving to the movie theater.
18-year-old is not going to go see that. Like you want to go? They're just
Well,
not.
what I'm saying is like the parents have ultimately made the decision whether they go to the theater and see that fucking movie, right? Obviously, the kids are not; they're too young; they can't drive and go to the theater. They don't have money; they're stupid, right? So
They are really.
and they have no jobs. So, shout out China; they're trying to fix that.
Really appreciate you guys doing that.
Exactly,
Really trying to get that economy booming.
really bringing that child labor back into the economy, give it a good boost. Anyway, got to make them shoes. So the parents, I guarantee you, if they didn't go out on the press junket and they promoted all of this stuff, the parents wouldn't have known, right? Because you're not promoting it. So the majority of people wouldn't have known about it. You would have had people in the right wing blogosphere talk about it, and they would have, and then anybody that was like uber conservative wouldn't have gone and seen it. But the vast majority of people would have still gone and see it because they're like, oh, look, Disney movie, Aliens, Strange World, let's go.
Yeah,
right.
Whatever.
Take the kids. It's also on a holiday weekend because it was like came out Thanksgiving. It's like, all right, let's go. All right, let's go watch it. But because they went out in front before it ever dropped and talked about all this woke bullshit,
You've literally poisoned the water hole.
shot yourself in the dick, and no one went to go see this movie.
Yeah.
That's the reason why I bombed.
That's it.
It's not because it had woke stuff in it. It's because you were promoting it and celebrating it, and every time that movie would come up and parents would hear about it, and then they go to the movie theater and see it on the marquee, and they're like, oh yeah, isn't that the one where they're talking about like some gay love romance? Yeah, let's go watch something else. You know what I mean? It's that simple.
You basically gave yourself a sample of your main course, and it didn't taste good.
Yeah, and it's a lot of people that have no problem with that. They're just like, fuck, if we take these kids to this movie, they're gonna have a lot of fucking questions afterwards, and I don't want to deal with it.
I don't want to deal with it. And it may just be a shitty. I don't know. I didn't watch it, and I won't. But
and it was probably shitty too.
Yeah, I don't know.
The thing is, I'll watch it whenever it's free to watch.
Yeah, and I love how everyone like is okay with some of those concepts, but as soon as Mario has a different fucking voice,
I know
the community wants to hang Chris Pratt.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's because they hate Chris Pratt.
Yeah, of course. Well, my whole thing was we brought that up since we're on that roll of the movies. I was like, I watched the trailer for Mario. It looks awesome. Everyone grew up playing Mario. If you're any kind of gamer, you played Super Mario Brothers,
right?
But I'm like, guys, I was like, Mario didn't have a fucking dialogue in the games anyway. He said like two things.
Right. He said, "Here we go,"
and then like even on Mario Kart, he was like, whenever he got spun, I was like, so I don't want to listen to that for 2 hours.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't care if you hardcores. I'd rather listen to Chris Pratt. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I just it's not. Yeah. It's just because things like that. I'm like, it's not that big of a deal.
Right.
And he still has that little twang in his voice.
Right.
And so I don't know. I
think it'll be fine. I think it'll be fine.
I think
it will be okay.
I'm gonna go see it.
I'm gonna go see it. It'll
I think it's gonna be great.
I was just thinking about this the other day, and you're
talking about Mario?
Recalled this about the way Disney went super woke and everything's woke.
Yeah.
You know who hasn't gone woke, and they still pump out some awesome shit. And it's actually they've come out with another movie same time as The Strange World, and it is absolutely killing it in the box office.
Hit me with it.
And it's like has high 90s on audience score and critic score on Rotten Tomato right now.
What is it? You're killing me.
Puss in Boots.
Oh yeah.
So DreamWorks. Just think about DreamWorks. DreamWorks makes really good kid content, but it's also strangely entertaining for adults.
It's awesome
without being vulgar and forcing kids to ask weird questions. You know what I'm saying?
It's great,
and it's fucking great. It's absolutely uncontroversial content.
You got to walk the tightrope without falling in, man.
They somehow pull it off. And Puss in Boots apparently is like lighting it up right now.
I haven't seen it. I know Puss in Boots from the Shrek movies, but I haven't.
Right. So the whole Shrek verse. Right, Shrek. I mean, think about it. Kids watch Shrek first.
We've seen all of them.
Have you ever heard of anything being controversial about Shrek?
Nope. And there's farting in there.
And there's all sorts of like
adult,
a man and
woman having kids.
And adult humor. Hell, there's a donkey that fucks a dragon and has little donkey dragon babies.
They pull earwax out to make candles. And the whole dragon donkey thing. Nobody questions. They're just like, it probably worked out fine.
Hell, one of the isn't one of the like Disney princesses basically like a dude in a dress?
Well, it's the stepsister.
The stepsister's like.
It's a woman that has a man's voice.
Right.
It's the best. And then it's got the wolf dressed as a grandma because it's part of the story. Like,
you know what I'm saying?
It's like not only that. If you remember in Shrek 1, the bears they separated the three bears at the families, like they had the mom, dad, and the baby.
Yeah.
Later on in Farquaad's castle.
Oh, when they round them up,
the mom is his rug in his damn house or his castle.
Killed the mama bear.
Nobody bats an eye.
No, right?
Yeah, dude. That's the good shit.
I think it's because DreamWorks understands like it just focus on the story, make it good, stop slapping people in the face with your politics
and just
with your
good
crap.
Humor, man.
Just be good. If it's just good, you'll be fine.
And add relatable things. Like they did it when Shrek and them had kids. Like it's fucking crazy.
Right.
Got 3 kids.
That's what I'm saying. Focus on universally human things. Stop focusing on things that only affect.
And there's some
a small percentage of the population.
And there's some humor in Shrek that's pretty adult. Like when the dragon, he's like, "Hey, what are you doing down there?" And she's like, that whole thing is great. Right. Those movies are still good.
They insinuate enough to where kids don't know what's going on, but
we know what's going on,
and it's entertaining for everybody.
And of course, we're like, "How does this work?"
Right.
How does that work?
And it's entertaining for everybody. But whenever Disney has on there straight up trying to promote a gay teen love romance, kids are going to have fucking questions.
You know, I'm going to cross the bridge when I get to it with Heart. And I agreed to this when we were.
Onward, Disney can do it subtly if they wanted to.
You know, Onward, Chris Pratt.
Onward was really good. But actually, Onward, the cop that pulled him over, talked about her wife.
It's a lesbian, yeah.
Right. I don't remember that being a big controversy.
It wasn't.
Because it was just like a quick throwaway line and it was gone.
Because you know why? Because we know it's out there. And you know what? I don't bash
They didn't make it a big
They
deal.
didn't make it a big deal. It's just as if, because he was, okay, like in that movie, we've seen that movie a dozen times. It's great. But yeah, it's, as long as now going into those movies and stuff, I know it's going to be there. In some context, it just has to be. You can't help it.
Right.
It is. It just is. It is what it is.
Right.
Am I going to stop watching TV? No, I'm just not. It is what it is. Man.
I think enough parents though have done that, and that's
They have.
why their bottom line is affected. Now.
Yeah, and it sucks. It's really
my
sad.
thing is I'm not going to because I don't have kids, so I'm not as invested in that necessarily. And also, I think to your point is like it's not gotten enough to where it justifies. It's the cons don't outweigh the pros.
She didn't notice. My little one, she didn't notice that in that film. We've seen it probably 12
and you
times.
can control it. You're watching what you're
and I'm watching
anyway.
it, and she didn't notice it because, like you said, it's just subtle. It's just a quick, okay, and I move past. I don't care. It doesn't bring anything to the story. It doesn't take away from the story. I don't care. So because it's not a part of it. It's just okay. Let's just get that in there real quick. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's. The whole Disney. We'll see how it comes out, but yeah, they've gotten thrashed a lot here lately.
I think they got in over their skis. They started subtle and then they finally went overt, and it just bit them in the ass. And they're gonna have to go back to just being subtle about it.
Gotta go.
I think
Go back to your roots,
I think
man.
they should just get it completely out of it. Just try to focus on good story and I'm trying to have uncontroversial.
He said it.
Why do you need to be
I
controversial in
want
Disney?
quality over quantity.
Right.
I want quality.
Right. And look, people on the left. I mean, just to tell you this right now, if you anybody on the left,
We have a lot of left
I
listeners.
highly doubt it. But just listen. You may be right. You may be. One day we're all going to be gay. Whatever. But right now we ain't. Okay.
Well, you need me to
give
continue this,
it time.
continue this species.
Okay.
You need us breeders.
Right. Exactly. Maybe eventually we'll all be trans and non-binary or whatever the fuck. Okay. But right now we're not. Okay. So stop trying to push it. Just let this shit happen naturally. I'm playing devil's advocate here. I'm trying to help these people.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Stop pushing it. All you're doing is alienating people that you need.
Worse. And you said it best earlier. Like, I wish we all had some common ground. We just don't.
Don't
The
even
last time, truthfully, and I don't want to get in the weeds on that because it's not. I don't want to talk about.
All right, take us home. Wrap this up.
I want us to. The last time I feel like we were really united, everyone was on the same page, was 9/11. Sorry,
Yeah, the day after.
the day after. That's
Was the last
tragic, horrible thing, but we were under a common ground. And
Right.
I know I'm going way off from Disney's new CEO
But I get what you're
back
saying.
to it, but that's what I really feel like. And then the other time I thought we could have come together is this COVID bullshit. The whole new rules of CDC, and we've talked on the show before.
Yeah.
That's another time that we could have all.
Actually,
up.
I would say this. There were some people that I even convinced. I had arguments with, not arguments, but we just had some discussions about why we needed to lock down for 15 days. You had 15 days to slow the spread or flatten the curve or whatever the fuck.
You and I discussed that whenever
Apparently,
we
it
were.
ended up being 15 days to dick us in the ass for 3 years. But I would say we were fairly united for that 15 days, and then day 16 come around, and they were like, "Oh, let's do this for another 30," and then I was just like,
Lost
"I'm out.
me.
I'm out."
Tennessee, where
I'm
we
out.
live, thank goodness. We were like, we're done.
I was like, I've seen.
We're done.
This is a con. I feel this,
And I can tell you right now, I think I wholeheartedly hope it'll never happen again like that.
It was a. You can't convince me otherwise. It is 100. It started with us, and we kind of set the tone. Honestly, I think. Well, I don't know. Europe kind of fucked us because Europe started this whole. It started over in Europe, and then we got the Europe strain over here. But Italy is where it really got hammered hard, and then they locked down hard as fuck, and then we followed Europe. So this is all Europe's fault. Honestly, Europe's been a fucking trash heap since World War II. But anyway, I'll just say it. I mean, what?
I understand.
What?
Yeah.
All shit for the past 100 years has started in Europe.
Yeah, right. You're not wrong.
You know what I'm saying?
It's a whole
like,
land.
European Union sucks ass, right?
There, dude.
It 2
is.
world wars.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's not. Yeah.
Karl Marx is German. Hitler was German. Like basically Germany sucks is what I'm saying.
Breeding a lot.
Right. Nothing good has come out of Germany except for, I don't know, Wiener Schnitzel or something. I don't know. But anyway. In the America, they really fucking. I really think that if Trump wasn't president, it wouldn't have gone down that way. If Joe Biden was president or Barack Obama or whoever the fuck or Hillary Clinton was president during COVID, it would not have fucking gone down that way.
It honestly frustrates me and exhausts me at this point.
I know. I can't believe people still talk about it.
It exhausts.
I still see people with fucking masks on.
And it makes me
amazing.
The concert we went to, those people, and I'm like, you have a 22-ounce Bud Light in your hand, and why do you care?
I know.
I know.
I went somewhere to order food, and
we talked about it before.
Not a fucking soul in that building was masked.
We went to Vegas. Nobody had them on,
except for a 23-year-old little fucking wafer.
You talking a Muppet?
Yes, had a fucking mask on.
I get it,
and I'm like, why?
Yeah, I know. I hate talking about COVID. I'm so burnt up about it.
It's so stupid.
It's so aggravating.
But so I would say that was the last time we were kind of like, okay, this is a concern.
I can agree with that.
15 days. All right, let's do this. We're all in this together.
Yeah.
All that slogan bullshit. And then whenever it just became 3 years,
I was like, I'm no longer a part of this. I'm not united anymore.
We're not in this together anymore. I'm now by myself. Leave me the fuck alone. I'm not wearing that mask.
We are super segregated.
I know.
Unfortunately, we really are.
And honestly, this looking back on it, I think people are, to your point, on both sides. I think they're just ready to put it behind them.
We are.
But here's the thing about that is I'm ready to just fuck. I've been moved on since June of 2020 when it dropped. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been trying to
I remember. Yeah.
do my own thing. I haven't cared about COVID for 2.5 years. But the people that were like COVID fanatics, they also, when we're finally over this, are also going to want to forget about it. But it's their fucking fault that we locked down for as long as we have to deal with all this bullshit and spend all this goddamn money. And that's the reason why our inflation's through the fucking roof and all this kind of stuff.
Yep.
But, they're going to just be like, oh, well, that was a cool time. And they're going to forget about it. They're going to try to hide the fact and skirt it up under the rug.
Like it never happened.
Like it never fucking happened.
Yep.
But in the back of my mind, no, this is your fucking fault.
Oh, people won't forget.
I'm going to know.
They won't forget.
They're going to try to forget, but I'm not going to let them.
I think when we can all come together and be unionized or whatever, that's a stupid word. All together.
Unified
would be the 4-day work week.
The 4-day.
The 4-day work week.
Yeah, so we were talking about this.
That really excites me. I was like, let's segue into that. How can I subtly?
That was a decent segue. I'll give it. That was a good segue.
Not bad, huh?
It was pretty good. So we were talking about this earlier today, and earlier today we've been talking about this for fucking ever.
For 15 years.
Yes, for 4-day work weeks. So
actually that's no. In my adult job,
Yes.
as my adult career, I don't like to say career because I don't. Whatever.
Yeah.
Work.
Your working age.
My working age. You're starting
years.
to realize. When I was in high school or whatever, so I didn't care if I worked all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
It was just,
right.
It was cool.
But we're big proponents of the 4-day work week.
4-day work week,
right? And I've always said this is like if I was the inventor of jobs, and I was like,
what would that title be?
Right? I don't know.
Grand inventor of jobs.
I was the grand inventor of jobs, and I was like, all right,
labor.
I need these people to do a job, and I've got 7 days to work with. Well, let me. And I need to split 7 days down the middle. It's like, well, let's do half work and half play, right? Half where you're at home and half where you're working, right? You need to work half the time to fund the other half.
Right.
Makes sense, right? Well, how can you split 7 days? Well, you can't really split 7 days,
So
right? Because it's an odd number, right? So let's do 5 and 2. It doesn't make any fucking sense to me.
Well, was that Henry Ford?
Right. I think he's instituted the 40-hour work week, right?
Well, that's because there was real issues.
There was problems because they were working overtime. They weren't getting paid for that and all this kind of stuff.
There was real problems,
right? And they were like dying on the assembly line, all this kind of stuff, right? And there's child labor and everything. Whatever.
There's human parts in the frames of cars.
Exactly. Somebody loses a leg in the furnace, and they're just like, walk it off,
I got it.
Whatever. I get it. And so, but you could have like stopped all of that without like basically conditioning all of society. You have to work 40 hours a week.
Yeah. You're a slave to the clock, man.
You know what I'm saying? Whenever psychology will tell you that human beings don't work that way.
Nope.
Our brains don't work that way. And they've done study after study after study of this, and you get about on an 8-hour work day, you get about 2 hours of quality, solid ass work out of people, and then
2 to 3.
2 to 3. You get a couple of hours of like really put your nose to the grindstone. I'm gonna hammer this out. Work. You get what I'm saying? And then it starts to decline after that, and then you get to like about the 6-hour mark, and it's just like
Now, I'm not talking about
it
doctors.
falls off.
I'm not talking about doctors, but I think doctors' schedules are structured weird, differently than a normal, like say someone like you and I. I'm sticking more to the.
I'm talking about just the general populace.
Yeah,
the
okay.
general populace. The
Yeah.
99% of people out there.
But
right?
it shows as well, because apparently this came out. CNN released an article, which I mean, it's all over the internet.
Talking about like people that need to be productive. If
Yeah,
that makes sense.
where-
I'm not saying that doctors aren't productive, but doctors are usually, those are task-related things.
Yeah, that was probably a bad example. But I may be wrong on the numbers. You might want to pull it up if you can. Was it 300 different companies in Europe tried this?
It was 100. I think
100,
it was about
excuse me.
100.
I was
So
off
100
by a
different
lot.
companies in the UK only. It was just the
Yeah.
UK that they went to a 4-day work week, but they didn't do any increase in hours on the 4
No
days.
4
It was
tens.
4/8.
It was 4/8,
4/8.
and they showed
So that's 32 hours.
a high number in productivity went up.
Mm-hmm.
General morale went up. It was 2 other things as well, and then 97% of employees wanted to keep it, which I'm like, no shit.
Right.
Because people are starting to realize that your time is more precious than no one is.
Right.
We've talked about it before on the show where the flex is no longer how many hours can I put in, and that's the problem. Run into. That's why it won't work here. Now, some companies could try it, make it work. The industry we're in, I don't think it could work.
It depends
It
on
would
the
take-
industry that you're in.
It depends, but I'm telling you, it will work, and it will have positive.
I think
Oh,
we just need to get out of the idea that every job has to be 40 hours a week.
Yeah, I mean,
I think we just need to get out of that.
'Cause
I
I
think
feel
we
like-
need to get out of the hourly.
yeah, you feel
Right.
like if you didn't do your 40, now because the whole thing was part time, under 40, 40 or more is full time. Like, okay, well, I mean, I understand the certain. I'm not saying that. You can get into the whole weeds on part time employees working. I'm talking about strictly full time employees in this whole whatever.
Well, like have you ever had to do like an employee schedule before?
I have not.
I've helped out. doing
I've
one
seen it
before.
done, and I've helped a little bit. Probably you and I are probably in the same place. Have done it a little
Yes, I've done it. I've watched it and I've helped.
bit. Yes, it's weird.
And my thing is like whenever you're doing one, is that you have your number of employees, right? And you have all of these time slots that have to get filled, right? So you're looking at it's like trying to fit a jigsaw puzzle together. So you got all these employees, and you know what their availability is, and then you got to fit them into the time slots because you got to
Yeah.
make sure you have coverage and
That's right.
whatever. And then you look at it and you're like, well, I got to make sure that they're not working over 40 and that everybody is getting at least 40.
Correct.
Because everybody has to work full time in order to get their benefits and all this kind of stuff. And they need to work because they need money, right? This is their livelihood, so you can't, dick somebody over and only give them 20 because that's all that's left. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So
Right,
you have
right.
to balance it out to where everybody gets 35 to 40 or whatever it was. Well, this is whenever I was helping out doing a part-time schedule.
Sure.
But anyway, but that again, I think that's the problem. Is that the mentality is the focus is on this hourly thing
Yes.
instead of saying, "Hey, look, I have a task that needs done, and I have to do it day in and day out, month to month, year over year. I need this thing done to run my business." Go find somebody says, "Hey, I'll pay you this amount a year to do the thing. Go do the thing. These are my working hours. This is your shift. I don't care if you get it done in 3 hours or 8 hours. You get paid the
It's
same,
just-
no matter
it's-
what."
it's-
And so it incentivizes people. It's like, okay, look, I'm going to get paid the same. If I was told I'm going to get paid the same no matter how long it takes me, I'd do it as fast as fucking possible to leave. Wouldn't you?
Of course, who wouldn't?
That's actually how it worked when we were raised as kids. Is you had chores growing up, right?
Of course I did.
Okay, what'd your parents tell you? He's like, as soon as you get these
As soon
chores
as you get
done,
your chores done, you can go outside and play.
boom.
Now, but you have to do them right.
But you got to do them
You
right.
can't be
'Cause
half-assing
otherwise,
them.
you got to go back and do it again.
Do it again. And guess what? It got done.
Why did that change when we became adults and we had
Because
good
you
jobs?
old mentality thinking.
Exactly.
Because especially in our industry, it's
That's the way we've always done it.
40. This is the way we did it. This is the way it's been done. This is the way it will continue to be done.
Right.
Because no one wants to listen to the idea that guess what? This place will function
Right.
with less hours put into it. It
Right.
will work the same.
Right.
But
I mean,
no one will even try it.
But just think about that for a second. Is that we were conditioned? Anybody that most kids have had chores. I mean, I don't know really today's world, but I feel like our generation at least,
My daughter has
everyone
chores.
had chores.
You got
right?
chores, bro. Yeah.
Everyone had chores, and what the description we just laid out is that if you got, as soon as you got your chores done, it's your parents said you have to do the dishes, you have to take the trash out, you have to walk the dog, whatever it is. The sooner you get that done, the sooner you can go do your thing, and you got to do it right. Because if you don't do it right to my specifications, you have to act like the parent's the boss in this situation, right? Saying, I have a task, and you don't necessarily get paid for it, but maybe I also got an allowance, and if I didn't do my chores, I didn't get my allowance, right? And so it was very much a boss-employee setup,
Yes.
right? Was it not?
Yes.
That's exactly. And so we were conditioned as children to get something done correctly as fast as possible, so we learned to be efficient. We learned better ways of doing it. Like, if the task was like bring the groceries in, I would try to take in as many groceries
You
at
learn
once.
time management, and then when the bag busts, you learn from that mistake.
And I learned, I need to
gotta
make
do
sure I
2 trips.
reinforce it, and I got to do 2 trips, not carry as much, right? Because I dropped it last time. You start to learn how to do a task and do it well and do it efficiently, right? And then you finally become an adult after all of this conditioning as a child, and they're saying, you got to sit here for 8 hours, whether there's anything to do or not.
And no less. If you're less, then you're not. It's not a full day.
It's fucking insane to me.
And especially with our industry and the way especially people who are in a cubicle setting or an office job, you feel it. By the time you may go into it great Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and especially if you're doing mundane tasks, you do a lot of the same thing all the time. You know how your day's going to lay out. By Friday, and then you have upper management, other people too, that salary, whatever you want to call them, are not there. Dude, that morale clock is in the shitter, and you are literally just clock watching.
Yeah, I know, and people talk about this all the time. Everybody who's ever worked in an office or any other kind of whatever, you do have some employees and that are just, they get there and they're balls to the wall and they fill all of their time with doing things. That's fine, and that is.
I've met like 3.
Those are high performing people, but that is not the majority of people. They're a minority. Okay, high performers are a minority. Otherwise, they wouldn't be high performers. They would just
correct.
be normal people.
That's correct.
Right? But they're not. They're high performers.
Right.
So they're meaning that they're in the minority. Everyone else is, just trying to get through the day. Honestly, most people who have jobs have jobs. If you like, what we say is like if it didn't suck, they wouldn't have to pay me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's Homer Simpson. That's when
Right.
Lisa said,
So your job's supposed to suck.
He said, "That's right, honey. All jobs suck. That's why they pay us to do them."
That's why you pay. Yeah, exactly.
And I've accepted that's where I wouldn't just come here if it was free. I understand that I have responsibilities as an adult, as a
Right.
father, whatever. We all want nice things. We want food on the table, but
And you want to have meaningful work.
yeah, I'm not saying like I don't want to. I'm not saying going to be a pile of shit,
Right.
but
if you had the choice between, riding dirt bikes and hanging out with your daughter
Yeah,
and then doing meaningful work, quote over whatever that is,
whatever that is, I'm going to go ride
I would
motorcycles.
ride motorcycles and hang out with my daughter.
But then I also understand if you flip that coin, the other argument was like, well, if everybody wanted to do that, then we wouldn't have roads. I get that, but
Yes, things need to get done.
Things need to get done. I get
Right.
it, but the things can get done, and this all depends on industry.
It does depend on the industry.
You'd have to do it. That's why there was only 100 companies that participated, because obviously, like constructions, there's certain things that you can't do that.
Some of them you can't.
But at least entertain the idea of it. I'm telling you right now, I know in where we work, I guarantee you have a huge increase in productivity. Morale would be way up because people anticipate that they've got a day off coming up. They got a 3-day week coming up, and they also they can waver off of the stress that I've got to take time off to even go to do this. I got to do that, and you get a whole extra day,
Right.
to get things done. Like that extra day is fantastic.
Right.
It's I think it is a great idea to at least try. Entertain the idea of doing
Entertain
it.
the idea of the 4-day work week.
People are no longer in
and-
the idea that I have to work 70 or 80 hours a week. I'm just going to work to the bone. Like,
Right.
dude.
And I look, we can start with a compromise on this too. We can go to a 4-day work week, but keep it 40 hours if you wanted to. And I'd rather do.
Well,
I'd rather do
410s
410s.
is
right?
successful as well, but you have to have the right.
Correct, but
you
I'm
have
saying
to have the
start there.
personnel
If
for
you
it.
wanted
Yeah.
to, you don't have to go straight to a 4-day 8-hour or 4 6-hour whatever, right? But people, I'm just saying. I think the key to this is not trying to find the perfect number of hours to work a week. I think the idea I'm trying to promote is just get away from the idea of hours.
How
Period.
about make some changes?
Right.
We're all about making changes for the weird shit. Let's make some changes for
Right.
that would affect everyone positively. Let's try it.
And listen,
If it doesn't work, roll it back.
look, and listen, employers out there, listen. my generation and definitely the Gen Z after me,
Our millennials. That's us.
we are not about this fucking work 40 hours and for 40 years till you die thing.
We know that we have to work. I know that even though I fall into the millennial, we both do in that category. I know that I have to work. I want to work. I want to be obviously produce. I like being. I like to be
productive.
I like being a provider.
Correct.
I like to contribute. It's not that I want to be just a big pile of shit. But yes, like you said, let's try some things because the ones around the show are old school where this wasn't even a conversation, but things change.
Right. But if I'm having to sit around and you're just trying to find stuff for me to do just to fill my day because I have to
I don't want
to
to
for 40 hours,
why
that annoys me.
Is that what we said? I don't want to have to convince you.
Right. I don't have to it's like you have to justify all 40 hours.
No.
You know what I'm saying? And you have to if I only have actually 20 hours of actual real meaningful work, which you hired me to do, and then you got to try to fill it with some weirds, you're just trying to you're grasping at straws, trying to fill the rest of my week or day or whatever. I'm just like,
It's like when somebody said, we've seen it before.
I'll do it, but I'm at the same time, I'm like, my heart is not in it as much. Whenever you're just trying to fill my time, does that make sense?
Yeah, it means we've seen it before.
You can't call that meaningful work if you're grasping at straws trying to fill the day.
Well, it's the same thing if you see someone sitting at their desk and they're playing a game or on their phone, right? And you're just like, they should be working. They are working. They're here, and they may have just taken. You don't know what they've been doing in the past, but if there's nothing for them to do at the time, but they're readily available,
right.
Leave it alone.
It's
the same thing whenever when I was with a line crew or with had a bucket job, someone would call in because I saw somebody sleeping in their truck, or they're sitting in a restaurant parking lot just sitting. I'm like, he's still working. Right. So just because he's not in it, and then someone's calling like, he's just laying about on the clock.
Yeah.
And you don't know what he did the night before.
Don't be one of those employers where you walk by and you see a couple employees just having a little chat and they're not absolutely working. Be like, you guys could be working.
Or you go back and tell the boss
and you say everything's done. It's go clean this toilet.
Yeah, time to lean, time to clean. You said, there's a group of people conversing. I've never been a boss or in a leadership role in the workforce, but I would assume that most people generally probably want their employee. You spend more time at work than you do at home. You want your people to be positive in a happy environment. Happy employees will do, in my opinion, better work and will be more responsive to you. My dad's a big time manager and he works with people all the time and takes all that to heart and does a lot of research on management and how that whole thing changes now, the dynamic, especially in our age group, millennial wise. He's had to restructure how he manages people, and that's important to him is morale and employee happiness.
Right.
Obviously, we know that you can't get everything you want, and you can't cater to childish behavior and all that stuff. You still have to, work and all that stuff. But
right. But I think it's a mentality thing. You have to
change your mentality, and know that, for example, if a holiday's coming up, for Thanksgiving, what they did was okay, we'll close down early because people with families send them home. Everything else can wait or just rolls to an on-call or whatever. Someone will take care of it if there's an emergency. There are 24/7 business as well. Sometimes I hear people saying, they're like, we would never do that. I'm like, you've never tried it.
Right.
We have to be susceptible to try things. You have to try things.
Right.
Because like you said, you stick to that old thinking, however was it, the Ford? We don't remember when Henry Ford was, whenever this whole thing started. Things are a lot different in the workforce.
Yeah.
Big time.
I think you got to try away from the hourly thing. If you just start moving more and more people to a salary type thing where listen, I have a job that I need to fill, but not every week is going to be 40 hours a week. Think if you were let's just take it from a low end job. Let's just say you're working at McDonald's, okay?
Okay.
And you have your opening closing hours and you have morning rush, you got lunch rush, you got dinner rush, you got all the, you got different periods of time that have, where you need more employees, and sometimes parts of the day you need less employees, right?
Sure.
Well, what if you get to a situation where you've gamed it out and you've got you're going through the week and everything's all good, but then you've got you have to staff a couple of employees at times where you don't really need them, but you have to do that because they have to meet 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So instead, why don't you say, okay, well, this week you're only working 32, but you still get paid the same because I'm paying you to do a job when I need the job done, not pay you to be here for 40 hours. And then I got to figure out where I can shift you around. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
If it was just salary, it says, hey, look, this is what you're going to get paid yearly, but this week I need you filled in here, and next week I need you here, and the third week I need you here, and that's what your schedule's going to be like. And it doesn't always end up being 40 hours.
Well, salary to me, that's usually what you work toward is salary, right? Because you know why? You the extra work you do is extra time off. You're literally working extra for more time off. I think a lot of the majority of people would rather have that than work overtime for extra money.
Right.
So I'm like, so the goal is to work for more time off.
Right.
So we've gone from hourly to extra money to do this to the goal is let me have a salary that pays well, that's base.
But salaries to people still focus on the 40-hour week because if they have to still meet that, right? So because they have comp time or whatever, all that kind of stuff. So they still, even the salary people are still locked into this 40-hour work week.
I know we need to step away from it. At least I want to try it.
That's my thing.
If it doesn't work, and there's some negative to it, probably somewhere in there.
But we'll find it out.
We'll find it out together.
We're adaptable human beings. We can figure this out.
You can ease it. That's what I don't understand. There's such this weird stigma of fear around it. Like, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Like, immediately before you could even lay it out, it's immediately like shut down. Like, it's not going to work.
Right.
How do you know?
Well, that's the thing is like any proponents of the 40-hour work week can't actually give me a rational reason why it has to be 40 hours.
You know why? Do you know what?
The only answer I ever get is, well, that's the way it's always been done.
That, and the second thing is because we're millennials, you know what they'll say? You just don't want to work. You're just being lazy.
Just being lazy.
Just being lazy. You got to fucking hustle.
I'm sorry, no.
I'm not.
Listen to what I'm saying, people. Listen to what I'm saying. Is that
listen to me?
It's not about
respond to him.
It's not about being right. Look us both in the eyes and respond to nobody.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Listen to me with my voice. With your ears, my voice. Listen. Is
really got away.
It's not about being lazy. It's that millennials and the generation after me, it's all about time, speed, now. And if you've got me sitting in office, bored out of my fucking mind, when I'm not really I don't have anything meaningful to do, it feels like a waste. Right? It's not about being lazy. It's that you tell me to do something, I want to go knock it out so that I can go do what I want to do. Right? Because that's just the way it is. I'm sorry, but that's just the mentality that the generation of mine and the ones after me just have. Is they don't have this, I don't know, company loyalty is not as big anymore. It's who are you texting? Every time you do that, you distracts me.
It's not that it's my in-laws just there.
Oh, okay.
Remember I had to do this early. I'm sorry. Yeah, they're now
That's
they're supposed to text me before they get here, and it's like, "I see you're not home." I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, we're almost about to wrap.
You're okay.
This
Go
up
ahead.
anyway.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
It has nothing to do with being lazy. It's just that I want my time to mean something, and if it's going to be bullshit time because you're just filling with bullshit work just because I have to be here for a certain amount of time.
Yes, I know. We've talked about.
It's not being lazy. It's being real about it.
Being real. Yes. We want. That's the most precious gift that I can't get back. I can't
this time
buy
back.
it.
Right, and I can't get my time back. And what you're doing whenever you're forcing people to work 40 hours a week, even though the work is not there for 40 hours, right? What you're doing is you're saying that people's time is meaningless. That this bullshit task that you're just trying to make it so that I'm busy, that doesn't really need to get done. You're just trying to make like busy work drives me nuts.
I
hate
nobody
busy
likes
work,
it. You immediately it's distasteful.
Right. What you're saying is that my time is not really important.
Right. Yeah.
Is what you're saying.
Yes.
Right.
Agreed.
So that's how I feel about it. I think we got to break ourselves free of this. We have to work 40 hours a week thing.
Break the mold a little bit,
get
man.
Out of that. Just
try it.
Why don't we start? Our minds need to start saying, "Hey, I need someone to do this, and I will pay X amount to do this thing."
That's it.
That's how we need to think about jobs.
I agree. Maybe we will. Maybe we'll try it.
Maybe one day. That's the reason I think you see a lot of people, in doing, side hustles, and they're actually like doing things to where they are artistic or they're selling something or whatever, and they feel like the time that they put into it, they can see they get out of it, right?
Yeah.
And that's another thing I think is about our generation is we need instant gratification.
We do.
So somebody I went to school with in high school, he fucked off. Me and him, we ended up taking like a fourth math in senior year, and I bombed that class. I slept half the time. I made like a 32 or some shit like that, right? And I was a smart kid. Like I made straight A's and everything like that. But I got to that final class, and I was like, "This is a jerk off class. I don't need a fucking fourth math. Like I don't need this crap. I've already fulfilled all my obligations to graduate and all this kind of stuff with good grades." And then I finally got to this one, and I was just like, "Ugh, I don't need this," right? It wasn't worth my time. I didn't see the benefit of it. And there was another kid that was in the class, and he did the same thing. But you know what he did do? He had his own lawn service, right?
Yeah.
And he worked. He worked at lawn service, but he was going to these classes. And I asked him one time, I know why I don't give a fuck about this class. Why don't you give a fuck about this class? He's like, because it doesn't matter.
Excuse me.
It's like, this class doesn't matter, right? He's like, and he told me one time, he was like, I need to. It's like when I get to college and I'm learning a trade, then it matters.
He's not wrong.
Right? This fourth math in high school, I don't see the benefit of acing it.
Yeah.
What's the benefit? No one's going to pay me if I get an A.
We need to actually. It's funny, Brendan. I'd like to do an episode
on education.
On education.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, there's as far as I think that's a good one, and not so much
we'll
your
start
hate
with
on
my
teachers.
hate for teachers.
Not hate on teachers, but in general, like the thought.
That's
especially as a parent
It's
myself.
like an inside joke now.
Oh, it's great. I told people that today at work.
100%.
Somebody brought up teacher, and I said, I know somebody that
I hate teachers.
hates teachers.
And apparently I hate kids too because I don't like when they're stars in movies.
That's not true.
I know, but like they all.
Harper calls you Uncle Zach.
Right, I know. But that was the joke is I hate teachers. And someone said that. I was like, whenever I talked about how I don't like whenever kids are like saving the world, like, I don't particularly care for Harry Potter, that kind of thing. And we've already had this conversation on the podcast about it, but so someone said, dang, he doesn't like teachers or kids. I was like, yeah, pretty much anybody involved with a school, I hate. Kids, teachers, the faculty,
Yeah.
the janitors.
Yeah, I'm like,
everyone.
I was like, he doesn't hate teachers. He hates
Coaches,
whiny,
athletes.
He hates whiny teachers.
I hate everyone.
He's fucking crybabies.
If you're involved with the school, I hate you.
I hate you. Burn the system. Right. Yeah. Just because you were homeschooled early.
Yeah, that's what it was. Because I was homeschooled. Now it all makes sense.
That's great.
But yeah, so that's become an inside joke.
I like it.
So I'm going to keep that going because I think it's funny. We could have that. We have an education special.
I like that. Let's do that.
For that. And I was homeschooled, so I can have some perspective.
I think
there.
we should. I like it.
Again, that's to tie in with to wrap this up and tie in with also the 40-hour work week. Here's the thing about I think a lot of what we're talking about with the 40-hour work week
public school time
is the same thing. A conversation we can have about education, because whenever I was homeschooled,
it was less.
It was about get the work done and then you can go play.
Yep.
Right. So I got the fucking work done. I aced my test. I was a straight A student, but I was in school less than everybody else.
Yep. I want to really next.
Now my brother, he had to go. He went to public school. He did do some homeschool initially, but he needed more professional instruction. He had a lot harder time.
Yeah, that's fine.
Than I did.
And
it was different, right? Because kids are different. Because people are different.
Let's do episode 30. Down with the system.
Right. So, and honestly, it might be interesting. We could try to save and do an actual full-on episode about education, and maybe have a teacher on.
All right.
Try to get a teacher on.
Any teachers listening?
Right.
If you're interested in being on our show as a teacher, message us
on
Instagram or DM me privately or DM.
I promise I'll be nice.
Seriously, any teacher come on, we can do Zoom call, we can do Discord chat. You don't have to actually come on location and do it with us.
Yes.
Yeah, we can. We'll do a show together.
Call in, whatever. We got the tools. We got the talent.
And it's not going to be a roast, so don't worry. I mean, we're not here to roast. We just like to have some thoughts.
Well, we can give you a safe word if I'm going to.
Someone in the profession would be nice. Like I may learn something.
Like
new.
pineapple, and I'll back off.
You'll learn something new. Maybe something we didn't know. But yeah, shout out, message us if you want to come on, and we'll work it out. Yeah.
So I guess we'll wrap this puppy up. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Numbers are up. Things look great. I am getting back to the decal thing. We decided that we're going to keep the name.
Yeah.
Any name change, we're going to keep because it's a household name. Right next to Folgers and Country Crock Butter. Yep. Before she got taken down.
Right.
That was Aunt Jemima. That was
no, but Mrs. Butters.
She got taken down
Buttersworth too? I don't know.
Either way, I don't know how we got on there. It's fucking it fucks me all up. Anyways, numbers are great, so things are going great. We're going to start doing decals soon. I've also working into some possible T-shirts, hats, decals. I may get into that whole thing with some merch. And then I'm also, for next year, I'm thinking about doing some sort of sweepstakes or giveaway, or actually do a
You talking about 2023, like
2023,
January?
excuse me,
Right.
2023,
A year
probably
from
springtime. We'll do. I'm thinking about doing some kind of giveaway, or possibly, well, actually, planning on having some semi-famous people, semi-famous.
Yeah, we're trying
individuals come on the
to
show.
book in some more.
I got some thirds wanting to come on with
Yes.
us, and actually got some semi-heavy hitters that are pretty cool folks. We're gonna try to have them on and mix the show up a little bit.
not like
So-
Tom Cruise or anything.
Yeah, he's not.
Chill
he's
out.
busy. But
Yeah. We tried.
some Nashvillians,
Right.
Maybe some music scene people, and some get a mixture of some folks.
Right.
Maybe even some Twitch streamers I've been looking at and talking to as well. I'm gonna try to do something different. So I'm looking.
Gotta start somewhere. Yeah. So
Yeah.
good things ahead. I know with holidays, the schedule's kind of been all over the place, but we're gonna try to keep it consistent week to week. I've still talked about maybe we need to add in another episode. Per
Yeah, we're thinking about actually. I've thought about this too. Is doing
Twice a week.
a smaller episode of just a one content thing, like a one-off, where we might do a special on something, or maybe do a local comparative, or something quick that
Right.
something fun, quick, not quite as heavy.
Also,
as
tell us what you think. Wherever you can comment.
Yeah.
Someone asked me that question. Was like, where do you comment? I was like, wherever the fuck you can
comment on. Well, we have a Facebook page. You can comment there. You can message us on our own. You can message the Infinite Weekend Podcast on Instagram. We are on all the time. So
Do you want more or less of us? We seem to settle into the hour and a half mark.
Yep.
So tell us what you think. Would you rather have more short episodes, or keep it like it is, or tell us fuck off? I don't care. Just
also rate us on Spotify and rate us on Apple Podcasts as well, or wherever you get your podcast from.
like, subscribe,
And comment as well. We really appreciate it.
notifications,
Boom.
and
Zip it up. Zip it down.
zippity doo dah, Dave. All right, and we're taking it out. Here we go. Maybe.
There it is.